Listeners beware, there's no turning back now. You've entered the Horror Apocalypse Podcast.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Horror Apocalypse. We're recording this on Thursday, June the 20th, 2019. I am Chris, and with me today is my ever-popular, ever heterosexual life mate, Michael. How are we doing today, Michael?
That was a mouthful.
It was a mouthful, you have no idea. Just like, oh, never mind. So today's episode, we're going to take a look at The Shining. And this was another Patreon pick, and the Patreon pick from a gentleman whose name I already forgot, because I don't know him personally. But who was that gentleman's name again?
It is from Mike.
It is from Mike, and Mike is also the gentleman who brought us The Life Zone. Was that it?
Yes, yeah. Mike, I guess, felt bad for having us watch The Life Zone, so he picked 4 more additional movies, which this is one of the 4, and we have some great ones coming up, with the exception of Drag Me to Hell. But we have Drag Me to Hell, the 2017 It, and Dead Alive. 2
of those movies I've never seen. I've never seen Drag Me to Hell or Dead Alive. But but let's be honest, it was a fun movie. So, and I know you are looking forward to, as well as I am looking forward to, the second half, which is coming around very soon.
Yeah.
So
we shall see. We won't have to deal with the fucking kids anymore. But let's save that for the end, because we've got someone else who hates kids. So
apparently quite. Although it wasn't very specific if it was all children or just children in films. But I guess we'll figure that out at some point.
Right.
So today, like I said, today is The Shining, 1980s, Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, which...
The Shining.
You've got the Shining.
You mean shining?
Shh! You want to get sued?
The Shining, yes. Which we probably should have asked if he meant the 1981 or if he meant the 1997 TV movie. I did. You would think we just kind of assumed... Oh, you did ask. You did.
I did ask, yeah. I asked him which one, and his response was Jack Nicholson.
Oh, okay. All right, that does it then. Good. All right. So we're going to tackle this movie coming up very shortly here. And don't forget, you're going to want to stay tuned after the show on Patreon, because we're going to have some exclusive stuff going on. There's probably a little bit of trivia and some behind-the-scenes stuff going on. Maybe we're going to insult each other a little bit, maybe do a little homoerotic stuff. We're not really sure yet, but we'll figure it out as we go.
I can tell you it's not trivia, because I completely forgot we were doing that segment, and I did not prepare it this time.
Yes, homoerotica. I finally get it. No one's going to be able to see it, but still. So we're going to break down into our introduction here, and also going to discuss between the two of us as what's been entertaining us since the last time we've been on the air, as it were. So, Michael, what's been keeping you occupied? What's been entertaining you?
Quite a bit, actually. First, I'm all caught up on Nosferatu, the new Zachary Quinto TV show that's out.
Quinto is in that?
Yes, he
what
plays
is he
he plays the I don't know. I don't know if he's a vampire. I don't know if it's the car that's a vampire. We're only about like 3 or 4 episodes in, so
okay.
I know all 10 of them have been released online, but I am watching them as they're being released. I'm going to do it the way it's supposed to be done, because I like it. I like it so far, and I want to make sure it gets the ratings and everything that it needs. But I don't know what it is, but I've got the book in my card on Amazon. We're going to be taking a vacation here pretty soon in July, so Devil Bunny and usually I take a bunch of books with us up into the mountains of Georgia, and I just hang out there and read a bunch of books, so I'm looking forward to that. I've got that one in there. I do also need to correct myself. Over the last couple of episodes, I've been talking about this fantastic TV show, Bad Omens. That's not the title. The title is actually Good Omens.
Good Omens?
So, yeah. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking when I kept saying Bad Omens.
That's okay. No one caught it either. So
right. But I am all caught up on that as well. I binged that the other day to get caught up, and it's just great. It really is. If you follow us on Instagram, you probably saw the picture about how witches blight crops and blah 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 blah. They have too many nipples and they name their cats funny names. That's from Good Omens. So there's lots of little things in there that are just fun to look for. But I highly recommend that. I checked out The Perfection and put up a 5-minute review on that one. Great movie on Netflix. I know a lot of Netflix movies, they seem to have this curse where they're fantastic up until the end, and then they drop the ball at the end. This one didn't do it. It had a great ending all the way, or had a great premise all the way through, had a good ending, gore, great twists, one that you see coming, and like 17 more that you don't see coming. So all in all, that was a great movie. Check out the 5-minute review on that one, and I think that's pretty much about it.
All right, fantastic. You've been busy, little beaver.
Oh, between that and trying to maintain our YouTube page, which, by the way, folks, YouTube, go to YouTube and subscribe to us. We need 100. We're 20% of the way there. Keep going.
That is right. Even if you never want to watch it ever, we just want your subscription, to be honest. So,
and I'll tell you what. Let's just. We'll throw it out there. When we won't hold another contest until we reach 100 subscribers. Once we reach 100 subscribers, I'll hold another contest. We get a nice little prize box that we'll send out to somebody. Prize boxes, I'm sure you've seen the 2 that we've put out there already. They could contain anything from movies, stickers, shirts, mugs, bags, just all kinds of cool stuff.
Use silverware? No, we're not doing that?
No.
Oh, I was under the impression that we were getting rid of all of our dirty dishes and buying new ones. Okay, I was wrong. All right. So, yes, please go to the YouTube page and subscribe. We need another, let me see, 8, 10, 9... Well, let's just say we need another 100 people, because we don't want to just shoot for 100. You want to go over 100. You want to overestimate a little bit. So let's see if we can actually get another 100 or an actual. Let's shoot for 110. That's a fair
baby
number.
steps. Baby steps.
Yeah, baby steps. 110. So for me though, what's been keeping me occupied? Hey, thanks for asking. I've actually.
I told you were taking the lead on this.
Yeah, I know. But I've been watching. We just watched The Shining this week, so that's one of the things going on. I actually had never seen the movie all the way through. I've seen bits and pieces of it over the last, I don't know, decade or so, and never actually sat down to watch the whole thing. So this was a really good excuse to sit down and watch the whole thing. So we did that, and it piqued my interest into learning some more about the mythos of this movie. There's a lot going on there as far as the mythos of this movie is concerned. If anybody has checked out, there's a documentary out there for it. Came out in 2013, I think it said, and I think you said that you own it, Room 237, which I was watching before we started recording this. I'm about 30 minutes into it. So far, kind of interesting, but definitely something worth diving into. Also catching up on Star Trek. Finally had an opportunity to sit down and start watching the seasons of Star Trek, and have to say, so far, 4 episodes in, it's been pretty damn good. Very, very pleased. The guy who's playing Captain Pike has been fantastic. So if anyone's into that, keep watching, because it's a damn good show.
Did you see the Borg reference that I talked about a few episodes back that you jumped my shit about?
Not yet. No.
Okay.
No, I'm only beginning episode 4. So I haven't even seen, well, spoilers at this point, the season's over, but I haven't even seen Spock yet. Although I will say this much.
Oh, great. I didn't know he was coming. Way to fucking spoil it for me.
Oh, sorry. Every episode, though, that's all they keep saying is Spock. It seems like every 10 minutes, somebody says the name Spock, just to remind you that Spock is going to be in this season. It's like, hey, did you hear about Spock? Oh, hey, by the way, Spock. Hey, we can't find Spock. Where's Spock? I don't know where Spock is. Hey, Spock drove this angel when he was a little kid. Who did? Spock did. It's a little bit too Spocked, I guess is the word. But, yeah.
Who's Spock?
So, Spock? Who's Spock? I don't know who Spock is. Although I have heard that from some people, anyway, who have seen it, they said that the guy who's playing Spock in this show is better than Quinto. And I thought Quinto did a really good job in those movies. So I'm eager to see. Quinto, you didn't think Quinto was good?
No, he's a generic Spock.
Well, Spock is, when you think about it, I mean, he's kind of bland. I mean, he's very logical. Spock.
Are you talking that nerdy fucking Star Trek shit?
No, not at all.
Just like Lord of the Rings in space or some shit?
I think we just lost the 2 listeners that we had just by you saying that.
I'm
by the way.
sorry. So I don't follow some show about a guy chasing a ring in a police box. Sorry.
I think you're confusing some things. That's actually Star Wars you're thinking of right there. Just so you know.
May the force be with you, Harry.
It's one of my favorite memes ever. Signed Gandalf with a picture of Patrick Stewart. So yeah, that's what's been going on with me lately. Anyway, let's. You want to go ahead and jump into this then, since we've gotten through the majority of everything so far.
Yeah. We're going to keep this one kind of short and sweet this time, for folks that are listening, because well, I am tired as shit. We're recording late, and this is also a long-ass movie, so if we do this, bit by bit, Chris's recorder and my recorder are both on one battery bar, so we're probably going to lose this audio halfway through, so we just want to make sure we get as much out there as we can. So
yeah, which kind of makes you wonder what it is we're recording when we're not recording.
Well, I'm recording a lot.
Ooh. I don't know what I
got to record. I got to record sound bites. I got to record 5-minute reviews. I got to record this. I got a shitload of stuff I'm recording. Which, speaking of sound bites, we're gonna have some sound bites for this. By the way, the most iconic scene.
Here's Johnny.
Probably the most quotable word. And a little bit of some creepy twins that I'll work into this audio somewhere. So
come and play with us, Daddy.
Listen through, see if you can find all of those sound bites, and it'll be a fun little game for you.
And a fun little game for me, since I won't know where you're putting them in.
Yeah, and I'm probably going to put a Wu-Tang song at the end, just because I want to put a Wu-Tang song out there. Not that it has anything to do with the shinning, but just because I want to do that.
Fair enough.
Oh, and yeah, let's get into the review. Yeah, this is Stanley Kubrick's version of Stephen King's 1980, no, he wrote this in, 1970 something? But the movie came out in 1980. The basic plot is Jack Nicholson plays the character Jack Torrance. He takes his entire family up into this hotel. It's a seasonal hotel. It's closed for X number of months out of the year, and it's open the rest of the time. And he's going to be the caretaker of this hotel. They're paying him to live there. There's pretty much about it. It doesn't look like he really needs to clean anything other than whatever he dirties. It's a sweet gig. It really is. But there's a twist. He's slowly going mad. That's your cue.
Oh, that's what you were trying to do? Okay. Yes, that is correct. He's slowly going mad. Now, as you said, we're trying to keep this short and sweet. Pretty much everybody at this point in life has seen The Shining. I would like to think. If not, maybe you've read the book. We're not going to get into a deep dive for the differences between the book and the movie, because we all know that they pretty much don't go hand in hand. So we're not going to talk about that, because we could talk about that for hours. So we'll just go into what we know from the movie. So yes, he is going slowly insane, and a good chunk of this going insane does have to do with the fact that the wonderful Overlook Hotel is built upon a Indian burial ground, which is kind of strange that it's inside a mountain. I thought that was a little weird. Did that come up as strange to you, by the way?
No, I assumed you could pretty much have Indian burial grounds anywhere. We have them down here in Florida, and we're nothing but a swamp.
Interesting. I just thought it was weird who buries people inside a mountain. But I guess, if we're going back to Lord of the Rings, I guess, the trolls and stuff did it. So
yeah. And who builds a giant house to home dead people? Well, Italians. Mausoleums.
Yes. Yep, that is accurate. So yes, he's going slowly insane, having to do with the Indian burial ground underneath the hotel. Now, what's slowly happening here is Jack, as you have to understand, was an alcoholic at one point in time. So he has a very huge craving at certain points. Of course, once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. He's always fighting his demons. So he's constantly trying to keep himself in check. The boy that is there has the gift called The Shining, as Scatman Crothers has so kindly put to us.
The Shinning.
Which is the Shinning. If you're
Quiet,
watching
boy.
The Simpsons,
You want to be
it's the
sued?
Don't be reading my mind between 4 and 5. That's Willie's time.
Oh, God, that was like Treehouse of Horror, 3 or something like that. just kind of shows how old we are. So the boy has the shine, as it were. And Scatman Crothers also has the shine. So he's able to identify people who have the shine. They have a nice little conversation, saying, hey, be careful. Your parents are going to get freaked out by this. Don't be afraid of anything you see in the hotel because it's not real. Nothing. He doesn't think anything can hurt you. He doesn't think anything can hurt you. But, if he has any problems, try to, oh, wow, I just confused the book. I just realized what I was doing. I just confused an entire scene from the book into this movie. These are the differences between the movie and the book, by the way.
I thought we weren't going to delve into that.
I really don't want to, but I realized as I was talking, I was adding the book into this, not the movie. Wow, that's okay. I'm actually surprised myself. In this condensed version of that, Scatman Crothers has a nice little conversation with Danny about not to be afraid of his gift. But he really shouldn't talk about his gift to his parents. It may freak him out. And to be careful, in the hotel during this off season. This hotel does have a seated past, and the seated past is 10 years prior to Jack and his family coming in there to be the caretakers. There was already a caretaker who had a family there. And this caretaker had the exact same kind of problem that Jack did. He was a raging alcoholic, except he was still an alcoholic, and he lied about it when he got the job. So he slowly goes into madness as well, except in this case, he manages to kill his two daughters, which I think they said were 6 and 9 or something like that.
Yeah, everybody figured the Grady girls were twins, but they're not.
Yeah, they're not twins. I think they said, even going by the book, they said it was like 6 and 9 or something like that. And so he kills his daughters, and he kills his wife before taking a shotgun to himself and committing suicide. That happened 10 years prior. So the manager Ullman, is a little skeptical on hiring on somebody else, or somebody else to do this, and especially somebody with a family, because he's a little afraid of that. Jack, of course, reassuring him that he's not an alcoholic, he doesn't drink anymore, which is fine because there is no alcohol being left in the hotel. They clear everything out to make sure that there's nothing there, so this way they don't have to worry about these little problems. Jack is also a writer, or aspiring writer, trying to finish a play that he's been working on for quite some time, so he figures taking a job that is out in the middle of kind of nowhere, secluded with his family, he'll have plenty of time to write during the winter. So he thought. Anyway, your turn, sir.
No, I was actually reading something. I thought it was more than 10 years.
No, I said 1970. They said both of that in the movie and in the book. 1970.
Okie dokie.
That one I'll stick by because it said in the movie and then I heard it in the book because I'm listening to the book because I fall asleep reading comic books. So.
Oh, I have the physical novel.
Oh, dude. Oh, you actually have the physical novel?
Yeah, Devil Bunny got it for me because we see this movie at least once a year. Every year they do this thing, or every month we get flashback cinema here at Epic Theaters. And right around Halloween, one of the ones they show for Halloween is The Shining. So every year we see this for our wedding anniversary.
So you actually see it in the theater?
Yes, we do.
That'd be neat. I think I'd like to see that in the theater.
Yeah, there's some classics I've seen in the theater. Exorcist I've seen in the theater. The 1930s Dracula, quite a bit.
I don't get a whole lot of that around here. At least when we do up here, like they don't advertise it in enough advance that you'll know it's coming up. It's usually like, oh, I got a week. Oh, I'm busy that week. Blah blah blah. So,
yeah, no, we see a lot. You see that that meme going around, and it shows like it's divided into quarters, and it's the theater, and it's all these different movies that are showing, and it says, which one would you want to see if you could go back in time and see it? And all 4 of them I've seen in the theater, so it's like, none. Keep going.
Okay, so you got so I'm assuming The Shining is one of them.
The Shining, no, I think the meme. It's like the classics and The Exorcist. So it's like Exorcist, Dracula, Mummy, and Frankenstein or something like that.
Okay. I don't know if I'd really feel the need to see the Mummy and Frankenstein in the theater, but maybe Frankenstein.
Yeah, it's good.
Probably not the Mummy, but that's cool. That's cool.
But anyway, yeah, Jack is taking over this hotel. He brings his entire family there. They kind of don't want to go, but this is this is kind of Jack's way of getting away. He needs to work on his novel. He needs to get back into his himself. He needs to get back into himself. Now, Kubrick, I loved his vision. It's one of the few films by Stanley Kubrick that I actually really like. But King did not like it. Why did King not like it, Chris?
Because it went so far away from the source material, he pretty much invented his own story. The movie and the book have nothing to do with each other.
Which is perfectly good. The book is good on its own. The movie was great. When King decided, was it 1993 or 97, something like that he was going to go and do it himself and try to make it a little more, 97, that he was going to make it more like his novel, it bombed. So that should have told you something right there.
Did you, by any chance, hear what he had to do in order to be able to make that?
No. I'm imagining a handy behind the dumpster at 7-Eleven, but...
There was a little bit of that going on, but a good chunk of it was Kubrick had the rights to this. So he had to go to Kubrick. After bashing him for years, he had to go to Kubrick to ask to be able to make this. And Kubrick gave him the permission to do it under one condition, that he stopped bad-mouthing this movie, his original movie, with the exception of one thing he was allowed to talk about. And that was Jack Nicholson's performance. He was allowed to say whatever he wanted to say about Jack Nicholson's performance, but he could not bash the rest of the movie.
Well, it's because he was so outspoken, about the film, but he didn't want Jack Nicholson to be the lead either. Yeah.
Which, by the way, I think Jack Nicholson, most of everything Jack Nicholson has done that I've seen has been great. I enjoyed watching Jack Nicholson. Every time I see him, I just see him getting older and turning slowly more into the Joker. This movie was a prime example of that. I mean, as far as it just, he was good. I thought he was really, really good.
Yes, this is definitely one of my favorite performances of his. This and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, I think, are the top two, and Joker, the top three in my opinion. But did you see some of the people that were up for the role? I think Robert De Niro was one of them. There was no friggin' way. Oh, Dustin Hoffman was another one. There was no friggin' way those people could fit into that role.
Dustin Hoffman?
Yeah. No,
I mean, this. Don't get me wrong. He's good in his own right, but he could not have fit in this. I can't even imagine this.
No, I couldn't imagine it either. I mean, was he going to look at Wendy? Are you trying to seduce me, Wendy? Mrs. Robinson? No, it just...
Are you trying to seduce me? No, definitely dead people. Yeah, definitely dead people. Yeah, little girls. Yeah, definitely little girls.
They look alike. Oh no.
Room 237, or is it 217? 217, not sure.
237 matchsticks. All right, we're taking this joke way too far. But, yeah, there's no way. I mean, Robert De Niro is a fantastic actor. Al Pacino is a fantastic actor. Al Pacino wasn't up for the role, but
that would be awesome. That would have been so great as Al Pacino in this. Hooah, Wendy!
Do I look like I'm in my right mind, Wendy? Hooah! No.
Wendy, I didn't say I was gonna hurt you. Hooah! I said I was gonna bash your fucking head in. Hooah! Oh, that would have been so great. I want this. I want this now.
We don't do impressions very well, but we try.
No, not very well, but it's fun.
This is what you're paying for. But anyway, Jack is working on his great American novel, which seems a little repetitive to me when you read it.
No TV, no beer, make Homer something.
Go crazy?
Don't mind if I do!
All I need is a title. I was thinking along the lines of no TV and no beer make Homer something.
Go crazy?
Don't mind if I do!
You know what? We got to jump right to it. And folks, we're going to be all over the place on this because I'm so fucking tired. And blah, blah, blah. But the way Wendy Torrance holds that bat.
Oh.
Does it piss anyone else off?
Well, she's definitely not hitting any home runs, that's for sure. I'm thinking she was trying to bunt. That's what I'm thinking.
Right? Ugh. Anyway, there's the bat. There's a hot naked chick that turns into an ugly, wrinkly old naked chick.
Yeah.
So
Both were kind of hot.
That one we're going to give a half-star bump for the Abos and then quickly take away that half-star bump for the Abos. So that's going to break even.
Although we did get full bush.
Yeah. There's some things from the 70s and 80s I'm glad have not made it to now.
Wait, talk about vaginas? We still have vaginas around here.
Now, did you read a little more about some of the things that were happening on set, like some of the troubles this movie had?
I read through a lot, and there was so much going on. That's why I decided to make a little project of my own to start digging into this, because there's so much stuff talking about this movie. But what in particular are you shooting for?
Poor Shelley Duvall.
Oh, being tormented?
Yes.
And losing hair? And being under constant anxiety?
Yep.
Oh, my God. I heard a rumor also that they kept on feeding Jack Nicholson cheese sandwiches because he hated them to keep him angry and frustrated. I was like, that's just horrible. Who would do that?
Well, I forget the woman. I read something earlier about some famous actress he was living with at the time. She was saying that after filming, he would walk in the house, go right to the bedroom.
Houston.
Angelica Houston.
Yeah, I read the same thing. Keep going.
Go right into the bedroom, flop down on the bed, and within minutes be asleep. And he'd be out for the day until it was time to get up and go back and film again. It was so rough and hard on them. So, I mean, that's Kubrick's style. I mean, it shaped them going forward. We know Jack Nicholson. He lived right through that. Shelley Duvall kept acting up until about 2003, I think, was her last acting credit.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly.
Like that, yeah.
And Danny Boyd, the kid who played Danny Torrance, he only did, I think, 2 or 3 movies total, and then he became a professor at Kentucky, I think.
He did. Oh, he's got. All right. So underneath the credits of Danny Lloyd, just for the hell of it, why not? We have The Shining, Will, G. Gordon Liddy, and The Shining Forwards and Backwards. I think there's got to be some more to there than that. There's got to be some more to there than that.
No, I remember reading that today, that he only did like 3 movies total.
IMDb says, oh wow, they only credit him as 2 movies, which is The Shining and Will, the autobiography of G. Gordon Liddy. Okay. All right, so he, okay. Why not?
Now, they did reach out to him after the Dr. Sleep trailer came out, which, by the way, folks, you can head on over to youtube.com, search Horror Apocalypse Podcast, join and subscribe, and you get trailers every single day. We actually uploaded a trailer for Dr. Sleep, and this is the sequel to The Shining that's coming out, I believe, this year in November.
Yes, I think it said November, yep.
What's that?
I think it said November, yeah.
Yeah, and they reached out to him to see, and he didn't even know the trailer had come out and that there was a sequel coming out. And when he saw it, he said it looked fantastic, and it was fun seeing himself in the trailer again as the little kid. And he has every bit of faith that Ewan McGregor will bring justice to the Danny Torrance character.
Ewan McGregor, I mean, personally, I like him anyway. But I always think it's funny when he tries to imitate the American accent, because everyone knows he's not American. So just watching him do that, it always pulls me out just a little bit from that. But I'm kind of hoping that this one makes that go away because of the content. Did he say anything like, "Am I getting a paycheck from them using my likeness in another movie?" Because the kid deserves a paycheck.
I'm sure he will.
And I'm trying to find Shelley Duvall while you were talking. For some reason... Oh, there it is. All cast and crew. Here we go. And Shelley Duvall has 51 credits. Her last movie was 2002. It is Manna from Heaven.
Yes, I was trying to think. It was like 17 years. I thought it was 16 years. But yeah, it was like 17 years since she's done anything. And
yeah,
I'm sure she's quite happy.
It's been quite some time. She was actually in that movie Rocket Man in '97. Oh my God. If we go all the way back to The Shining, though, she has quite a few things before that too. So she was working, really working up until The Shining, and then Popeye comes out the same year. So I'm kind of hoping that she filmed Popeye before she filmed this one, because I'm sure she would have been a little bit screwed up after that.
But heading back into the movie,
yes,
we get a lot. We get a lot in this movie. A lot of stuff is thrown at you, and I can understand King in some aspects where his big issue was it felt like they were not focusing on the fact that it wasn't Jack that was the villain. It wasn't these ghosts or these spirits that was the villain. It was the actual hotel that was the villain. The hotel was the ultimate evil in this story, and I can see that. I can see that in the book, and I don't see them being very heavy-handed with it in the movie, but I do see some reflections of it in the movie. The blood coming out of the elevator, that's not a ghost. That's not Jack going mad. That was the hotel putting that out there. It's the people that come into this hotel, they get the urge to kill. They go insane. They lose their madness. So it's more of a subtle implication that it's the hotel, and I don't mind that. I actually thought that was pretty well done.
And I agree with that. I wholeheartedly agree with that. You know, understanding what King's issues were against this movie. I mean, when you're a writer and you're writing a story and it's put out and somebody wants to make a movie out of it, you think they're going to be faithful, and then you get this, which is basically he's taking the characters and kind of putting different spins on it. I can understand why King would be upset, completely upset. I completely understand that, but at the same time, this is also a good movie. You know.
At the same time, too, Stephen King is a drug addict, so.
Wow, why are you hating on the King, man?
Because I think, wasn't it Family Guy that did the, what are you going to write next? I've got a story about a haunted lamp.
A haunted lamp.
You're just not trying anymore, are you? That's so
do you want
King.
it? We'll take it.
Yeah. I mean, he's written more books than years he's been alive, so it gets annoying after a while. He gets repetitive. I don't think he's trying anymore, but he does have some, oh my God, awesome classics out there. Christine, The Shining, Cujo, Pet Sematary. I think he's written the only book, and it wasn't even a book, it was more like a novella, that ever scared me. Nothing in print, reading Exorcist, reading Legion, reading the Satanic Bible, nothing have I read that actually frightened me, except for his story, The Mist.
Really?
That one, I ended up, I'm sure you remember the girl from South Carolina that I was dating at one point in time.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. She was down, she was staying with me. We went to bed, and I'm laying in bed reading that novella. I finished it, and I kind of laid in bed looking at the window, looking at the door, looking at the window, and I got up and I shut the blinds. I closed the door and put a towel down at the bottom. I turned the fan on and pointed it at the door. I was afraid there was going to be some mist rolling in, and I didn't want any of these fucking things coming in. That was the only thing that ever scared the hell out of me. So I mean, he does have some great creativity. He has some great imagination, but he gets a little too full of himself sometimes. Look at Maximum Overdrive. I mean, he did that one in the height of his drug addiction. In a coke-fueled nightmare, we got Maximum Overdrive. And if you watch that movie and critique it, it makes no fucking sense.
I don't think I've ever seen Maximum Overdrive, but I remember that was the movie with the truck that had the Green Goblin on the front.
See, even if you've never seen the movie, you know the movie.
Yeah, with Emilio Estevez, right?
That is correct.
Ha-ha.
You are correct, sir.
Oh.
Speaking of dead guys, this movie...
Oh.
Nice segue. Jack's descent into madness is really the focus of the movie, not so much in the book, but it is in the movie. And I feel bad for him, to be perfectly honest, because he is a man who's lost control, and he's struggling so hard. Now, they do kind of hint, I think, a little bit in the movie that he was already abusive towards Wendy and Danny before they even got to the hotel. Now, that could be due to his drinking, but they kind of hinted that.
That's also one of the same things that are in the book, too, because he was an alcoholic in the book as well, and he did break Danny's arm from a night where he was drinking, and Danny had, and this is going by the book, though, Danny had emptied all his papers out when he was 3 years old, his play that he was working on, and then took one of his beers and dumped his beer on all those papers, and then looked at him and said, like, with that proud look of like, look what I just did, Daddy. And he went into a blind rage and grabbed him by his arm and snapped his arm. So from that point on, it was kind of like, uh-oh, and he tried to clean himself up. They never actually said that he abused Wendy at all, but he definitely abused, and in this one, same thing, except they didn't specify him breaking his arm. They said he dislocated his shoulder doing something similar.
Let's be honest. Let a little fucker do that to me, too. I'd probably break his arm, too. But speaking of little fuckers, what do you say we listen to a voicemail real quick that we got? Which, by the way, folks, if you want to leave a voicemail for us, it's very easy to do. Just call 323-5-HORROR, HORROR. It's a Google Voice, so you just call, you leave your name, and then tell it, leave your voicemail for us, and we'll put you on the air. You can hear your 2 cents on the air. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm so fucking tired. But generically, call us, leave a voicemail. We'll put you on the air and blast you. But this is Mike. He wanted to call, and I let him know that we were recording his episode of The Shining today. So he wanted to go ahead and give us a call in and leave his 2 cents. So let's go ahead and take a listen to that.
Hello, kitties. It's your old putrid buddy, the Crypt Keeper here. It seems I get to introduce a segment on a low-budget podcast where unsuspecting victims call in and let their shrieks be heard. Oh, the fear of it all. But you know how the old saying goes, the morgue, the merrier. Tell us all your fears in a piece we like to call Tales from the Phone Line.
Hey, so I heard you guys were recording my pick today, which was, of course, The Shining. I felt the need to apologize for the pick before. Anyway, it's one of the movies I wanted you to pick. I wanted you to watch because it's the first movie that made me hate little children. Like, I never had a problem with them before, but after those creepy-ass twins in that hallway, anytime in a scary movie some tiny little kid comes out, it freaks me the fuck out. Plus, Jack Nicholson was pretty crazy in the movie, too. Yeah, and I remember the Red Rum kid. That kid was freaky as fuck, man. I did not like that kid. Well, scary movies don't scare me very much. Back in the day, that one got me.
All right, so that was Mike calling in and telling us a little bit about his thoughts on The Shining. Very, very brief. The only thing I got from it was that he hates kids.
Yeah, especially twins. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. I like twins when they're grown and they're female adults.
And chewing doublemint.
Probably from India.
From India?
Yeah, the Priya and something. I forget their names, but it's a Pornhub.
Are you talking about Harry Potter?
No, it's Pornhub.
It's Pornhub. Okay, that's a sidebar conversation.
Join us on Patreon. No, Mike, thank you so much for calling in and leaving our first ever voicemail. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I kind of wish you said some more that we could bash you about, aside from your, apparent fear of children.
Yeah. No, the only thing we can bash you about is fucking Life Zone.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for making up for part of it by having us watch The Shining. This is. It's not Kubrick's best, but I fucking love this movie.
It is a very enjoyable movie, yes.
I think Full Metal Jacket is probably my favorite.
I haven't been able to sit through 2001: A Space Odyssey and complete it. I always fall asleep. I understand that movie is it's supposed to be like an artful movie. I get it. It just knocks me out every single time I watch it.
That's how I am with the Dark Crystal.
Yeah, the obelisk, whatever in the beginning. Is that what you're referring to?
No, it's just the movie. I mean, I could have a full 8 to 10 hours of sleep, get up, put that DVD in, and within an hour, I'm back to sleep.
I'm sorry, I didn't. I thought you were referring to the obelisk in 2001, but you actually meant the movie The Dark Crystal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, that makes way more sense.
That's why I'm a little worried about this TV series coming up. Is it going to put me to sleep?
Well, this is supposed to be a prequel to The Dark Crystal, right? I mean, maybe more interesting. Maybe more interesting.
Maybe not.
Exactly.
Maybe, baby.
But maybe, baby. But going back to The Shining, real quick, because I guess we have to talk about this.
I think we talked about it enough.
Well, let's wrap up some of the decent parts of this. Basic story, as we've outlined. Jack slowly descends into madness until finally the madness takes him, and he attacks his family. He does attack Wendy, and he attacks Danny. He tries to get Danny in this Danny outsmarting him in this movie, which I thought was kind of ingenious because the character itself, like, you don't kind of get the idea that he's really that bright. I mean, he's a smart kid, but you don't really get the idea that maybe he's this bright to be able to do what he was doing, which was leading Jack through this hedge maze and then backtracking in his own tracks, like walking backwards in his own tracks to make sure that, Jack got confused over which way he was going so the kid could get out and get the safety while Jack was stuck in the maze. And this is because the kid's been through the maze a million times at this point because they've been there for so long, so he knows which way to go and whichever. Good idea, as far as that's concerned. He definitely was able to get himself to safety, and that's where Jack ends up biting it out in the maze where he just can't continue because he can't find his way out at this point in time. So he eventually sits down and passes away in the cold.
Nice metaphor for his life.
Yeah, pretty much. And Kubrick did do these little shots in this movie, which I really like, where suddenly there's like a flash where it just changes and you get like a loud sound from the music. I don't even know what to really call it, but it's like a loud gong, as it were. Yeah, like the boing sound, and then you get like an intense visual, and that's how we're seeing Jack is dead, because you get it's daytime and he's like frozen face, and you get the weird sound and whichever. I thought was kind of neat. But some of the things we should really touch upon as far as this goes is a couple of the all-time famous scenes. I mean, you can't talk about this movie and not talk about "Here's Johnny." I mean, how do you not talk about that? In him sinking into his madness, him trying to get a hold of Wendy to kill her, he is cutting through the bathroom door with an axe, and this becomes one of the more ultimately famous scenes that people talk about as far as when they refer to this movie. They think of Jack Nicholson bashing through the door with the axe and sticking his face in there and saying, "Here's Johnny." It's a great scene. It's a fantastic scene. It definitely, in 1980, I would think that if anybody was watching this in a movie theater, he would definitely jump at that. That would be very scary for its time. Knowing that the scene was coming up and whichever, obviously, this day and age, you're probably not going to jump as much, but I think that's a penultimate scene, and it's definitely one of those famous scenes that's going to go down in history forever. As well as the scene of them going up the stairs with Wendy swinging the baseball bat that you really don't like. Him telling her that he's gonna bash her head in is also a great scene. It's very dark. You slowly seeing him really changing into the maniac he's becoming. It's a fantastic scene. What else from this do you want to pull out? What do you find is a huge scene in this?
I was just thinking while you were talking, all the clips I'm going to clip from the South Park episode or the Simpsons episode to splice into here audio wise.
Give me the bat. Give me the bat. Come on. Give me the bat. Give me the bat. Scaredy cat. Yeah.
I have not thought about that in so long.
For me, some of the things about this movie that really kind of stick out in my head, that the pattern on the rug, they've paid so much homage to that too in the movies Toy Story. The room 237, the carpet is the same carpet in Toy Story 1 that the bully kid has in his house. There's just all kinds of little secrets like that. But outside of that, I love the visuals. I love the subtlety of the hinting at that it's the hotel. And at the end, when you find out that Jack has been tied to this the whole time, with that picture from like the 1930s, 1920s.
I think it said 1927.
Yeah, so that little subtle thing
where the house kind of gets another victim.
Yeah, just everything about it, and the homage they paid to it in Ready Player One, I thought was fantastic as well.
Oh, that was so great! I forgot about that. That is so great.
But for me, mostly what I really liked about this movie was the visuals. Kubrick has a special eye, and it really works out. Like the scene, the very beginning, the car driving down that road, and as the camera follows them and slowly gets closer and closer to the car, and that's out in fucking Montana. Then the hotel is out in Oregon, and this is in Colorado, and it's all spliced together to give you this work of visual art. I just fucking love it. I love it.
Movie magic.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic example of movie magic right there too. And the visuals were stunning. I mean, just seeing, I'm huge into scenic overlooks and stuff like that, no pun intended. So seeing something like that, it was breathtaking. I could just imagine what that actually looked like in real life, to actually see that.
They did kind of the same thing in Carpenter's The Thing, where it was filmed. They had to use tricky camera angles and walls built with snow and things like that to kind of block out where they were filming. Yeah, just the way Kubrick did it was just so visually enthralling.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed.
Now, I know a lot of people didn't like this movie, or they preferred the 97 version. There are some, like our friends over at a neighboring podcast here, they're big fans of this one, and I love it. I think it's absolutely great. I think King was being an asshole. I think he was being a little possessive of his property, which is understandable if it's your baby. But if you've got someone who is an artist in that medium, let them work their art. If Kubrick wanted to write a novel, I don't think he would come in and step on King's toes and say, no, you're fucking this all up. You let the master of that craft do what they're a master of doing. And I think that probably is what caused a lot of the problems on set with Kubrick, I think.
I would agree. I would absolutely agree. I could not say it better myself. I think you've said that very, very well. And that is, Kubrick did a fantastic job with this. King is being a little possessive about it, but you're absolutely right. I mean, if you're making something and you've created something, you put it out there to the world, and somebody wants to pay homage to it, say thank you and say, what can I do for you? Just the fact that you want to do anything with this is great. Maybe the two of them should have sat down, maybe hashed out some of the ideas there. Instead of King just getting a little surprised as to what just happened, maybe he should have been a little bit more involved. And he wouldn't have been as upset. But then again, we don't, honestly, I have no idea what happened back then. I mean, all we have is documentaries to tell us what the filming was like. You've seen Room 237, and I think you said you own it. So at any point in time, does it touch about like Stephen King talking to Kubrick before this happens?
No, not really. It just talks about all the issues that they ran into.
Okay. So then King really has no one to blame but himself on that one. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
I think we've covered The Shining pretty much. Pretty much. We can get into our ratings here. Would you like to go first? You want me to go?
I'll go first, because then you do your rating and we'll close it out. So
sure.
Well, as I said, I am a fan of a lot of what Kubrick does. Not everything. He's got some pretty bad films out there, but I think this is a prime example of one of his masterpieces. I love the story. I love the acting, the visuals, just everything about this movie I thoroughly enjoy. I think I would go so far as to give this a 4.5 out of 5.
That's a high score so far. Out of a good chunk of the stuff that we have done, I think that's probably the highest you've rated anything so far.
Yeah.
But then again, a lot of stuff that we've watched so far has not been The Shining's caliber. It's been stuff like Meridian, which I'm sorry about, and stuff like The Sand, and stuff like The Life Zone. So it's a little difficult to, put these up against The Shining.
When you're eating table scraps for a month and a half and someone drops a filet medallion in front of you, you love that filet.
Yeah, you love that filet. You absolutely do. Even if that filet is, I don't know, made out of hot dog, you're still going to enjoy that because it's not the fatty gristle that you've been given. So I guess going on to me, I 1,000% agree with what you said about this movie. It is Kubrick has had some movies that aren't that great in the past, but this one is a great movie. I know we talked about the half stars for the nudity, and you took away the half star for the old lady nudity. I'm giving that half star back for the young lady's full frontal bush. So I also come up with a 4.5 on this one. I enjoyed this movie thoroughly. I think that now that I finally watched it all the way through, and I'm halfway through the book now, this movie's got me into that point of wanting to. I don't want to say go through like some of these other people have, and just go crazy on theories and pulling apart every little thing on this movie. But it does interest me enough to look a little deeper into it and look at the mythos of it. I definitely agree with you. 4.5 on this one all the way.
All right, so that puts our average at about 4.5. So that's good.
Yep, so far.
All right, so Mike actually paid for 4 movies. This was one of them. The next 3, which one do you want to do next, Chris?
Well, I've never seen Drag Me to Hell, so why don't we do that one?
All right, so stay tuned for our next episode, which will be Drag Me to Hell. And if we have a Patreon extra that's going to be coming up here, it's going to be all Chris. So stay tuned and let's see what we can find. But anyway, guys, that's our episode. Thank you so much for listening. Not that you had any choice, because when we strap you down and plug the earbuds in and we press play, you're pretty much fucked. You're going to hear whatever we want you to hear. But don't forget, join us on Patreon for that exclusive content. If you've not yet joined, head on over to Patreon using the link in the show notes. You can join for as little as $1 a month. This helps us get more content to bring to you for your entertainment. There's many, many tiers to choose from, where you can get exclusive swag such as stickers, bracelets, movie choices. That's how Mike got in on this one. Coming soon, we're going to have some t-shirts and hats as soon as we revamp the website and we start our storefront. You're going to be able to pick up some cool stuff there, and many more. Don't forget to, if you can't support us through monetary means, don't worry. You can head on over to Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, which I surprisingly found out we're on. I didn't submit us there. But anyway, through iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, pretty much wherever you can listen to podcasts. You can rate, review, and subscribe to us there. It's free, but it helps us out quite a bit. You can also follow us on YouTube. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Vero, and YouTube, where you can also support us with subscribe for continuous content. And that subscribe over at YouTube, we've already mentioned it about 4 times in this show. It is very, very important, because rather than telling you go to youtube.com/channel/u/274-5F472ZZYX, instead of doing that, we can just tell you, hey, go to youtube.com.
When did we become part of the Borg Collective?
Yeah, exactly. But you can head on over to YouTube, hit subscribe, and once we hit 100, it's as easy as saying go to youtube.com/horropocalypse-podcast. So, help us out. Get your friends, family, get everybody involved in it. Get your church youth group. Maybe not your church youth group, but get everybody else involved.
Get them. I want them. Get your church youth group.
If you want to stay with your church, then don't get them. But if you don't give a fuck, get your church youth group. We'll get them swayed. Swayed. Anyway, thank you for listening, folks. Stay tuned for next week when we bring you Drag Me to Hell, a fun little Sam Raimi film. And stay creepy. No, I got to edit that out because that's from another podcast.
Enjoy your burrito, everyone. Oh, no, I got to edit that out. That's from another podcast.
Camel humps? I don't know. You think of a goodbye for us, and it's from us.
under the stars and you. Midnight and a rendezvous. Your eyes held a message tender, saying I surrender all my love to you. Midnight brought us sweet romance. I know all my whole life through I'll be remembering you, whatever else